How long does vinyl carbon fiber wraps last on the inside as well as the outside of the car? I'll be rewrapping one of my trims and we'll be comparing, so let's find out more. Although I do love winter, one thing I don't like about it is that if you're trying to wash your car, besides having freezing hands and being dark outside after work, it's hard to see all the leftover water, so then you have the water marks. But that's the nature of being in a state that has all the seasons. Anyway, this is not a car detailing video. First, I removed the trims on the passenger side. I started along the console, and it can get a little bit tricky because it kind of feels like you're breaking off the trim, but these are held in by clips, so if you have a trim removing tools, feel free to use those. Just be careful. I've used that in combination of my fingernails, just trying to get it into the gaps and then pulling out the trim. I also started from the passenger door side that has a plastic panel, and then eventually this all leads to the panel that I'm trying to rewrap, which is directly in front of the passenger seat. I'm deciding to rewrap this piece because a bunch of air bubbles started to form, so what I'm planning to do is to remove the old carbon fiber wrap and then clean it off with some Goo Gone and eventually put on the new one. And just a little bit of a side note, I am not a vinyl wrap expert by any means. This is just a video on me trying to rewrap one of the pieces that I've done in the past. And as you'll see, I actually ran into some more challenges. So for this first try, I decided to start on the top and work my way down. But a lot of the air bubbles were forming on the bottom half of the trim. So I think what's happening here is that the bottom part, if you're thinking about this as like an arc, the top part has more surface area than the bottom, so the bottom part is essentially bunching up. I went through a lot of iterations of adding the heat from the heat gun to soften the vinyl wrap and then peeling it back, trying to scrape out the bubbles, and it seemed to not go away. As soon as I fixed one bubble, another one appeared. So I decided to scrap it and start with the bottom instead. Here's the second try and still no luck. I started from the bottom section thinking that it would solve the air bubble problem, but the air bubbles still came back, and at this point I'm just ready to rage quit. I turned off the camera. This is the last of the roll that I've used. I do have one more roll. I was hoping not to use it, and now the only choices I have is either to use that last roll and try again, or just stop. And I guess third time's a charm. My wife decided to come over and help me, and I think maybe she noticed that the squeegee I was using was too rigid. Either that or she has some magical powers and or a secret carbon fiber wrap shop that I don't know about. But she was able to use her hand, and I guess that conformed to the curved surface much better. As we were going through this together, some parts needed to be reworked a little bit, but we didn't need to discard the vinyl wrap. Yay, wife to the rescue. So after all this work, does it match the existing carbon fiber? Let's take a look. The interior was done back on June 3rd, 2016, so just a little under 4 years from the making of this video. On the outside, which I had wrapped on March 17th, 2016, this has seen more sunlight from the summer. Obviously, it's been exposed more to the elements, so it's a little bit more faded. I drive this car almost every day to work, and in the parking lot that I have this car in, there's no shades, there's no parking garage. And during the middle of the afternoon, that's when it gets the most of the direct sunlight. So yes, the interior carbon fiber wrap pops a lot more in terms of the pattern. On the inside, it's still matched pretty well, so it doesn't really look out of place, but if I were to put this on the outside, if I have any adjacent pieces that were carbon fiber wrapped, then yes, I definitely see a difference. In this case, I guess I can get away with it because on the outside, in the front and back, there's just one piece of vinyl wrap per side, so there's nothing to really directly to compare it to unless you're walking around the exterior of the car. If I had a little bit more time, I guess I'll consider rewrapping those exterior pieces on the car, but we'll see. Hopefully this video is useful in case you're wondering how long does carbon fiber wrap last. As you saw, the pattern lasts a lot longer on the inside. You might have to replace the carbon fiber wrap on the outside a lot sooner, maybe within a few years because of the sunlight. That's all for this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.